find the world that they made.
Yeah.
And then the Rick there being like, ooh, gotta find a place where the mutants can live.
Oh.
Just it's Doctor Who.
It's Doctor Who, but it's actually he wanted to kind of play off of the idea of Back to the Future with the old man and the young kid that falls.
Yeah. But I was just saying, as far as the different.
Yeah, the way they travel around and see everything.
Yeah. Don't worry, Morty. They're robots.
When Morty gets his sex spot, and he's always going upstairs. Okay, guys, I just need some juice, and then I gotta go back upstairs.
You just hear him up there, just going
banging away.
And then he has a son.
Yeah.
The alien. Yeah.
With the robot lady.
Is that who has the son?
Yeah, that's it.
No, it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's certainly not for the faint of heart. But the writing's still so good.
It's so good.
I finally got it working.
Yeah, we need to watch Adventure Time.
All right, let's do it.
We're on. Everybody ready?
Let's do this.
Okay.
Four souls will enter. None will emerge.
Oh, hi, Mark.
If you have the balls, tune in for our weekly discussion for movies, and more movies. Movie news and things they watch on their Netflix queue. It's Hanging from the Balcony with Lewis the Professor.
I have literally the smallest muscles a man can have.
Miss Kimberly the Professor.
Shut the fuck up, all of you.
Nathan Betts.
You like that?
And Thomas the Doubter.
How long have you been doing yoga?
You're listening to Hangin' from the Balcony.
And record.
And welcome to Hanging from the Balcony. I'm Lewis the Professor, and welcome. That's it. I'm done.
Welcome.
Okay, over here we got at Nathan Betts, at Nathan L. Betts.
Yes, at Nathan L. Betts on the Twits.
He's on the Twitters,
yes.
And he is our producer. Hi, Nathan. How are you?
Hello.
All right. We've also got Kimberly, the Professor, Miss the Professor. I can't ever remember what we call you.
I don't know,
The
but let's go with the Venture Brothers reference. I like that.
Mrs. the Professor.
Yeah, what is it? No, Dr. My Wife. That's my favorite. Yay!
Yay! And then we
Hi.
also have Thomas the Doubter. Hi, Thomas.
What's up? I've noticed we're all kind of lacking energy this week. It's been.
I've got a bunch of spaghetti in my tummy.
You got spaghetti too?
Holy
I
crap,
had
me
spaghetti.
too!
I had big spaghetti! We all ate different. Different places.
I had
places.
spaghetti with corn. Spaghetti with corn noodles.
Corn noodles.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
wow.
we're trying to avoid
Gluten?
wheat. No, just wheat in general.
Wheat.
Because I learned something that we all have this because of wheat.
Oh.
Yeah,
I've got one
okay.
of those.
Yeah, I've got lots of those.
Too.
We call these a spare tire.
I also call it a gunt.
I lost my train of thought.
I bet you mine was worse. Mine wasn't corn spaghetti. Mine was baked spaghetti at Tomato Brothers.
Kim loves the baked
Oh,
spaghetti.
it's
So
just
good.
cheese. Cheese holds it all together.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's good.
It's freaking delicious.
What'd you have for dinner, Tom?
I haven't eaten dinner.
Oh, we'll get going here.
Well,
You
let's
didn't
do
tune
this.
in to listen to us talk about what spaghettis we ate. You
I'm
tuned
so
in,
hungry.
You tuned in to listen to movies, and more movies. And so we
Yeah.
will talk about a bunch of movies. We all saw some movies this week, I understand.
Yeah.
Let's start with Nathan.
Okay.
What did you see this week?
I've been waiting to finally get an opportunity to watch this movie, and I finally got it. It is only 8 years too late.
Ooh.
I finally got a hold of Mike Judge's Idiocracy,
Ah, yes.
and it is available to watch on the DVD selection in Netflix. It's not Watch Instant, unfortunately, but
Oh,
it is
that's too
available.
bad.
It is
Yeah,
available
it
on
should be.
Netflix. And I really enjoyed the crap out of that movie. It
Yeah.
was so funny. Of course, you got Mike Judge already bonus, already like 90 percentile for me anyway. But just some of the things that were starting to happen back when this was from 2006.
Mm-hmm.
So just total like product placement everywhere. TV started getting really ridiculous right about then, and this little gem comes along and just blasts us all. Just tells us what piles of crap we are and how we are going to end up if we continue on the path that we're on, where we're all going to end up with IQ of about 12 or less.
Which I don't see any reason why that's not the future. Honestly, if it's meant as a comedy, it feels 8
years later, it still kind of feels like a prophecy.
Yep.
But it's really great. Terry Crews as the president. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's so good.
That's great.
We got Maya Rudolph. I think that had to have been one of her first major roles, possibly back because of the timing of that.
We probably do need to rewatch it. We have it on DVD.
It's really great. I really like this. If you guys don't have, or if you guys really like, if you like Mike Judge movies in general, definitely check this out. But if you like satirical and sassy commentary on the state of things these days, you'll definitely like this one. Dax Shepard, great in this. Dax Shepard is so funny. He's such a
Hanging from the Balcony favorite.
Yes, Dax Shepard as an attorney with the IQ of 14. He's great.
They're all
go away! I'm baiting.
It's got electrolytes.
It's got electrolytes.
But
it's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes.
Yeah.
That's all I
We're watering
Have you seen
the
this,
plants.
Tom?
I haven't.
You gotta see this,
yeah.
Thomas. It's really good.
It's actually really good.
It's pretty good.
I haven't heard anything bad about it. I have some friends who've seen it, and they're quoting it.
You know what my biggest problem with it was? I came out of it going, I'm not sure that's a comedy.
Yeah.
Like, I worry that it's too
on the nose.
It's like too good of a prediction of the future.
Well, and they go 500 years into the future. It's 2505. Wow. So like they go way forward, and everybody's wearing that sports warm-ups, that weird shiny nylon, the like kind of like sports. You just you go and warm up in your sport. Everything's made out of that, and then what you do for a living is down in your sleeve. So Dax Shepard's walking around in these weird shiny pants, and then he's got an overshirt on, and then down his sleeve it just says attorney. What's his name becomes Secretary of the Interior, and so a really smaller Secretary of the Interior all down his arm, and then of course Terry Crews just says President down his arm. Yeah, so it's anybody that has any important job, you're labeled.
And water fountains just have Gatorade.
Yeah, they have this weird Gatorade stuff coming out.
So the point is that if as a nation, as a country or world, we just keep getting more and more stupid, because we basically encourage people to be distracted and to not study or go deep in anything. The
family tree thing that they're talking about.
And the people who don't get educations have lots of kids, but people who do get education statistically have very few kids. So over 500 years, they're just wiped out. So Luke Wilson and another person who are very normal.
Maya Rudolph.
They're not. Yeah, Maya Rudolph. They're not smart in our time. Go into the future.
And they're geniuses.
Compared to everyone else. It's pretty funny.
It's great.
Yeah, it's worth your time.
Yeah,
for sure.
If you can get a hold of it, if you can get a hold of it, it's really great. I couldn't recommend it more. So definitely check that one out.
What about you, Tom? What did you see?
I watched The Raid 2.
Hey, we saw The Raid 2 as well.
Yeah.
You got to tell us what you thought.
Well, I think we've obviously talked about the first Raid, and we all loved it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a fun movie. I was a bit disappointed, actually. Mind you, the opening scene with the jail fight scene, I had high hopes. It was the camera shots and just the excitement. I was like, okay, this is The Raid. And but as the movie went forward, there's actually quite a few dry spots. I thought the story was pretty predictable, somewhat slow at times, and the action scenes were good, but it was nowhere near the first Raid. As far as that was just constant, awesome camera work, great action, and it just, you're trying to figure out what happens next. In this movie, it's kind of predictable.
So overall, you were disappointed. Would you have been disappointed if this hadn't been a sequel? If this had just been like, a movie?
I would have probably said the action is really, fun to watch. There's some cool stuff that they did with that. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, the only time this movie seems to have fun is when the action comes up.
Right.
Like the plot wasn't necessarily fun. The conversations weren't that interesting to me. But the fight scenes, as far as even the areas, the environments, just all these good ideas. Uh-huh. And then as far as the story itself, it just kind of... So I went into these high moments where I'm like, oh, wow, they actually, that's amazing. Just like... But I was like that through the whole first Raid movie, whereas you're just like shock and awe. In this, it's just kind of up and down. Every time there wasn't a fight scene, I just shrugged.
Kind of didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kim?
I think you've got a good point. When I put them side by side and I compare, the Raid Redemption is better. It's better, and maybe because it's a little shorter and it keeps the action nonstop, and it's good. It's good. Just because it's action doesn't mean that it's automatically good. So you're right with the camera work and the locations and the characters. I mean, the actors do really, really good stuff. So in the second one, the Raid 2, I think it was like 2/3 of the way through the movie, I looked over at Lewis and I was like, this isn't about our main guy. Our main guy's not in a lot of this stuff. There's like other actors who are leading their own action sequences, their own fight sequences. And I thought, that's cool that they're giving other people a chance or, an opportunity to do this. But I really just wanted to see our guy fight, like all the time.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it, so I kind of feel similar.
It's like 2 hours long, right?
It's a little more. I think it's a little more.
2 hours and 38 minutes or something?
It's not that long. Oh. Is it?
Or maybe I was thinking of
2:20, 2:30. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2:28.
I think they could have easily cut a half hour or maybe 45 minutes out.
And to be honest,
made it the same length as the first movie and made it just tighter.
Exactly. Maybe take out some of the slower moving moments between the action scenes.
Ooh, yeah. The first one's only an hour and 40.
To be honest, the machete guy, he had a couple cool parts, but I don't think that whole story arc was even needed.
Well, there's some really great moments. That's the problem. Is this where the Raid felt like it was just a constant
like the prison sequence out in the yard. That was really cool. That was great. Yeah, in the mud.
I like the scene in the car where he's fighting the two guys in the car and the other guys behind him.
But those are the action. That's the time.
But it's all action. Even the final climactic battle in the kitchen.
That's the one
was
that we
cool.
want.
Yeah, that knife.
It's a great knife fight. But boy, we just
the kitchen. The kitchen.
Some really great fights. I mean, it's amazing what kind of action they can do. But what I think the Raid did so well was, in 10 minutes, the whole squad is locked into a building and there's no way out and everyone in there wants to kill them. And you just move. There's no time to stop and think, right? It just goes and goes and goes and goes. And it's not a really complex plot. It's like you're trapped in a building and you want to get out. But it's got the
momentum that keeps it going and that keeps us interested and that keeps that excitement.
So on this one, though, because it's outside where you can go anywhere, and if you get in trouble, you can just go hide for a while or whatever.
Yeah.
People, they have to introduce all these characters. And they all have their different plots. And there's like 3 different bad guy groups.
Yeah.
All working against each other. And I spent a lot of time going, wait, which one is this guy?
Yeah, the
Who's
names.
he working with?
Yeah.
And they could have tightened it up by 45 minutes.
Well, and what I find unfortunate about that kind of thing is when you're just trying to follow names, you're at a disadvantage because your eyes are glued to the bottom of the screen to know what's going on. So you can't associate names with faces. And I know it's terrible to say that all Asians look the same. I know that's not what's going on here. But when you're that focused on the bottom of the screen, you do not see faces.
Although
you can't associate this face with that face with this name.
In this movie, it was pretty easy to tell, even if you aren't used to Asian movies. They look a bit different, especially the different villain groups.
Right.
Especially the guy with the cane. I mean,
guy with the cane.
The son.
Yeah, that's helpful. I'm thinking back to like Outrage when everybody's in a black suit. You're like, I don't know who's who, and I don't care anymore.
Outrage is much more complaining. Right. Actually, this movie this does a better job than Outrage but it's got the same problem where there's 4 or 5 crime families working against each other, and
you can't keep up with names.
We're just we almost don't give a shit. We're just
and
like.
then even at the end when we get the reveal, there's kind of the reveal for the son of the family whose family his own family he just destroyed. You're kind of like, okay, I get the reveal, I understand it, but was that worth the whole film when really I just care about our guy? I care about him. I don't care about...
if they wanted us to care a little more about that character, maybe have the main character and the son a little bit closer, like as friends.
The son took him outside and he's like, don't get comfortable here. My dad's just paying you back because you did a nice thing to me. First thing, you're gone.
Yeah, it's
and
just
I'm like, well, that's not a connection.
Yeah, and we have like that 5-minute scene where at the strip club where the son is being mean to that girl. Yeah. And what purpose did that serve? It didn't do anything. I mean, it's to show that he's a jerk, but we kind of got that. We knew he was a jerk already.
Yeah. He's spoiled brat.
But when you think
there's
about
places
the raid
that thing could have been
you think
cleaned
about
up.
those sequences we mentioned, and when I think about them,
fights.
it's just, oh my gosh.
No, it's hard because I want to recommend it just because of some of the fights are just amazing. You've got the baseball guy, you've got the hammer girl, you've got they're just wicked, and you and then when you glimpse that, you're like, oh, it reminds me of the raid and that's how the whole movie was. But
so maybe this isn't good for a movie for movie's sake, but just watching for the sake of these are some cool moments that you want to see.
For me, if it comes on Watch Instantly on Netflix, there's no reason not to sit down and just watch it once. But you don't buy the DVD. Right. You're not going to watch it. It's not like the Raid Redemption where you could watch it again and say, wow,
actually,
this is really good.
You guys talking about this makes me want to go back and watch Raid Redemption again because...
Yeah.
Bam, 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 bam. Oh.
I gotta say though,
I kind of wanted a moment like that.
One of the reasons the fights are so impressive in the Raid too is because those stunt guys, when they get hit, they get hit. Like they smash their heads into tables and then fall off a thing onto some cement floor and then
halfway, and their backs are funny.
We've been glorifying the action, and for good reason, because the action was amazing. I do want to point out though, when he first invades the big enemy base, at one point he grabs a wooden pallet and throws it for no reason out there.
Yeah.
Doesn't hit anyone.
Yeah.
And then he starts throwing empty water kegs, and if you look, one of them hits a guy and he actually falls over. I was just like, did that just happen? I had to rewind it.
That's great. I remember the part you're talking about.
Yeah, it was like, that's really, especially with everything.
Sound like soccer right now.
That's a lot of effort to throw up like an entire wood pallet. That's a lot of effort.
It's a lot of effort. It just looked out of place compared to the rest of the really well choreographed action. I was just kind of like, what's going on here? Is he just ad-libbing? Just trying to figure it out?
Just gonna wing this out here, see what happens.
Okay, so medium grade on that. Yeah. I understand that you both, Tom and Nathan, both saw a movie that was requested.
Yes, a requested movie. We watched
See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't remember which direction that was. So it is a Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder movie. I did not realize that they'd been in a couple of movies together before.
Right, that's true.
This was their last one together, as if I looked at that correctly.
Probably.
This is like an 88, 89-ish movie, somewhere in there, so it's a late 80s movie. Kevin Spacey's in it for a good 1/3 of it. He's not in it very much,
really?
But he's in it a little bit.
He's the British villain with the pencil stash.
He's got a pencil stash.
I saw this movie in the theaters when it came out, and I thought it was crap. And I've never seen it since.
Yeah, no, he's one of the main villains.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's fun seeing him. It was, especially with his little British accent. No, it's definitely dated, and Gene Wilder's an
1989, yeah.
He's an amazing actor, and then he's just kind of there. There's a few comedic moments, but not very many at all.
I think I laughed out loud twice.
I think when
and it was pushing it.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't.
Have you seen
great.
it, Kim?
Sure.
Yeah.
On Rotten Tomatoes, it's getting an 18% from the critics and a 74% from the audience, though, which I don't understand.
No, I don't get that.
I think it should be it should probably split that difference and give it about a 40 or so.
It was kind of fun to see an 80s comedy again. I mean, it's been a while for me, especially when I haven't seen. But other than that, it wasn't that good of a movie.
for me, I was only probably, let's see here, I was only 5 years old at this point, I think. So seeing this movie, obviously this is really hard R. There's a couple scenes with some boobies in it. There's a lot of curse words, mostly from Richard Pryor.
Yeah. He will cuss.
And Gene Wilder drops a couple F-bombs that's pretty well placed too, I might add. But so I would have never been able to see this as a child, nor should I have. Just the age range I was, it wouldn't have been appropriate for me. But just going back and getting to see like what was popular, like, so I'm assuming this was kind of like what this would be like a 22 Jump Street of the day, or a Neighbors of the day or something, correct? Like this was probably a summer blockbuster.
The 80s had some good comedies.
Yeah, I think I'm not saying about like the hard R comedy for adults only.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay.
Yeah. So it's interesting to go back and see this, especially because Gene Wilder usually plays such a great part. It's interesting to go back and see this and just see him. You almost kind of see him phone it in a little bit in certain spots. You're like, Jesus, this is rough to watch. In
the
some
whole movie,
parts.
it just seems like the writers are like, hey, here's a funny
here's a gag
chemistry where there's a blind guy and
a deaf guy
who have to work together.
And I'm sorry, I cannot wrap my brain around how fucking rude everyone is to these handicapped people. It's completely unbelievable.
That's the 80s.
The 80s
we
always
hated handicapped people.
Well, and 80s movies and 90s movies, they always exaggerate bullies and people like
That's
that.
True.
It's like nothing new.
Sweep the leg.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
I would have to say I think I gave it a 2 if I remember correctly. I did not like it
Sounds
that much.
about right. Yeah.
Was this on Watch Instantly?
It is on Watch Instant
I'm gonna go
for
home
now.
and watch it.
Yeah, it's available
for
for
Kevin.
now.
Do it.
Kevin Spacey, bro.
Kevin
Come on.
Spacey, yeah, you got to check out Kevin Spacey. The climax of the movie is utter horseshit.
You mean
It's
when
a
they
twist.
It is a twist. There's a M. Night Shyamalan ding dong.
fly out of the
Before that, right
Oh,
before that,
okay.
yeah, right before the zip line, there's a twist.
Zip line, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Wilder and Pryor did Silver Streak and Stir Crazy together, and I
Yes.
thought both of those were pretty mediocre.
Stir Crazy is also available on Watch Instant.
Both better than this one, but not much.
I read the synopsis of Stir Crazy, and it's almost the exact same thing as this, except for they go to jail instead of being deaf and blind together.
What?
It's nearly the same movie.
Do any of you guys know why were they a comedic team? Like, whose idea was that?
I don't know.
It seems
they
kind
just
of
liked
odd.
each other.
I think it might have been along the lines of, let's put this odd couple together. Like, they're very hot commodities at the time. Richard Pryor was
Black and white was a thing back then, like a cool, like
Lethal Weapon
and everything.
Yeah.
It's in 20 years people are gonna watch 21 Jump Street and 22, and they'll be like, Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill. How did they come together? Like, why those two?
Yeah,
it is kind of strange.
They're bras, man.
Well, they are. I mean, they work. Okay, so we also saw a movie from the 80s that was recommended to me.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was called One from the Heart, and it was directed by Francis Ford Coppola. This is the movie he made coming off of Apocalypse Now.
this movie is as old as I am.
This movie,
So Kim liked it?
it's bad.
Oh my
It's
god.
bad.
It was
So I was talking to a friend, and,
yes.
and I told him that my guilty pleasure, as far as movies go, is Big Trouble in Little China, which is a terrible movie,
I
but
gotta
it's
see that,
so
yeah.
good. I love it more than anything.
and that's
it's,
kind of what guilty
like, you'll
pleasures
hate it,
are. Usually
but I
they're not
love it.
like
I've seen
highly acclaimed films,
pieces of it.
but they like
Yeah.
them for a reason. I don't know if there's anything. I don't see any redeeming anything in this movie. I don't know what could
It's
be a
just bad,
pleasure
right?
about it.
What's it about?
It was stinky. It's a romantic film. It's not even a romantic comedy. It's about a couple.
It says here that it was supposed to be an intimate romantic musical short, or shot on a low budget, but in 3 years it turned into a big budget spectacular.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, so it's an intimate romance.
So it's supposed to be,
This guy and this
this little
girl,
thing.
they've been together for 5 years. They have an anniversary dinner. They're clearly not connected. They're not meeting each other on the same level, and they split up. This is like the inciting incident, right? They
Like
split
10 minutes
up,
in, they split up.
and then they just run around Las Vegas and try and see other people and try and screw people and meet new people and get away from the other person because the other person. But the guy is too obsessed with the girl, and she's the one that split in the first place. And he's like following her and hounding her and doing weird stuff. And
creepy.
And
he does screw some other girl though.
And she's
screws
with some
Raul,
other guy. Yeah.
Played by Raul Julia.
He was the only redeemed.
Sorry,
I said there was nothing good about it. He was good.
So Raul Julia, you'll know him from the Addams Family. He played Gomez, the father.
So good.
In 1982, I swear to God, I thought he was like this close to Robert Downey Jr. Like I kept going, is that Robert Downey Jr.?
It's
Hispanic weird because he's a Hispanic. Jr. Yeah, it's like Hispanic Robert Downey Jr. It was really
That's really weird.
Here's
just
what
physically, he didn't act like him, but he looked like him. I kept thinking, is that? Yeah.
So it doesn't even matter how the movie ends. It's bullshit.
The whole movie.
Don't worry about the ending.
46% on Rotten Tomatoes.
The critics are right. The people who liked it.
66%.
Like I have my friend, he loves it apparently.
It's the music was just so over the top, sentimental, sappy bullshit. The words say exactly what they're feeling and thinking.
Is it musically? It does do they just spontaneously bust into song?
No, this voice would sing it, and you'd hear this woman when the woman was sad on screen. You'd hear a female voice go, "I'm sad."
Wow,
it was shitty,
dude. I kind of want to watch this.
No,
you don't.
No, don't do it. And it was just such a hokey backdrop. It was so clearly shot on a set. It was just
it was supposed to be artsy.
It was not artsy.
It's supposed to look like
I didn't appreciate it.
It came off. Anyway, that's a shitty movie.
Rotten.
Don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
One from the heart.
You've never even heard of it. Just forget it.
We saw two others.
Yeah. What
we saw the Coen Brothers movie Inside Llewyn Davis.
Yeah, so Inside Llewyn Davis, I was excited. We didn't catch two films of the top 10 nominated for Best Picture this last year. One of which was Wolf of Wall Street, and
which
the other one,
haven't seen.
Yeah, we still haven't seen it. And then the Coen film, and so I'm a huge Coen Brothers fan. But I started last time. What do you think about this, Lewis? Why don't you tell us?
I think overall I was kind of disappointed. It's a story about a musician who's down on his luck.
A folk musician.
He's a folk musician. He's down on his luck. Everyone in New York in the 60s, everyone's like, there's no folk music's, or maybe the 50s, folk music's never going to hit. It's stupid. What you should get out of it and go, get a real job. And he just struggles and struggles and struggles. And every night's the same, and he gets beat up and he gets kicked out and he gets shit on, and it's really sad and boring. And then the very final time he gets kicked out of some bar and beat up, and in the background we see Bob Dylan as a young kid sit down and start playing. So the irony of the whole movie is that Llewyn Davis didn't make it, but he was this close. And it's just kind of depressing and sad, and it feels kind of, I don't know, repetitive and dark. That being said, I thought that John Goodman, who's in this movie for 10 minutes, was great. I love John Goodman.
Sounds like John Goodman.
Yeah,
he's so good. In Coen Brothers movies, John Goodman just soars.
It's funny how you can do that.
I agree, Lewis. I think it's kind of hard because the opening scene is where the film ends, and so we assume that there's a cyclical nature, that he's stuck in a loop and he's never going to get out of it, and so there's absolutely this oppressive and depressive quality to it. And we've seen a couple films that star people that are struggling in New York City, or some, usually New York City, and they're artists and they're creative and they just want to make it, and it's just sad. Like Frances Ha. I really liked that movie, but I was constantly worried for her. I didn't know what she was going to eat. I didn't know when she was going to sleep. I didn't know where she was going to live.
Yeah.
I mean, I was worried about her daily life. And he's homeless. Llewyn Davis is homeless. I mean, he just
sleeps
on couches and he hitchhikes. And I just didn't connect. I agree. There was a gap between me and the story world.
Do you think that it would be better, because it sounds like you're saying it's repetitive and depressing, and if they not a happy ending, but just kind of shoved in once in a while, like a glimmer of something, like something happy at one
they kind of do. Like, you laugh when John Goodman's on screen, and there's some jokes every once in a while. Someone will do something kind of funny and you'll laugh.
Yeah.
I wish I cared more about folk music. It's the worst thing.
You had to hear a lot of music.
It's the worst thing.
And he did all of his own playing and singing.
Oscar Isaac,
and he did
great.
a good job.
And he's going to be a really good Han Solo in the new movie. He's not actually going to be Han Solo, but he'll play the
son.
the Han Solo type character in the new movie. As I understand it, he's going to be kind of our hero.
I think a lot of that rating on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics really come from
the Coens as a pair.
I really do think it carries over, and sometimes people might get clouded, and maybe they just appreciate this kind of nihilistic look.
Or maybe they like folk music.
It's a really well made movie. It's beautifully shot. It's really well made. The acting's fine. The dialogue's good. It's just so depressing and pointless. It's just the story of a guy who's going nowhere, and so at the end you kind of feel like, well, what was that about?
And you can't change it or make it happy or give hope, because the whole point is that there is no hope.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the story. So
you could dash it away.
I understand it, but I just don't necessarily
Audience
like
gave it 74%. The preview for this movie was before her. In that 2.5 minutes of the preview, I got done with that and looked at Amy. I was like, well, I want to fucking kill myself. How about you?
Yeah. Well, the whole movie won't make you change your mind on that. You'll still want to kill yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of sad movies, we also saw Amour. Amour is French for love.
Amour. It's a
French for love.
It's a Michael Haneke film.
Do you guys know Michael Haneke films?
Nah.
Nope.
He did Funny Games.
Oh
he did
God.
White Ribbon.
Funny Games.
He does French and is it Danish?
He did Cachet.
French and German. He does all these movies that are usually not seen in America. They're not premiered.
Thus, why Nathan and I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
So the plot of this story is that there's an old couple, a man and a woman. They've been together their whole lives, and they're married. They live in France.
They have a good, loving relationship.
They've got this nice apartment flat in this building, and she starts to show signs of...
She has a stroke.
Oh.
She has 2 strokes.
Is that when she...
Yeah, ultimately. She starts to go Alzheimer-y, but then she has 2 strokes.
Right. So it's just the story of the end of a love, end of a love relationship.
Watching the person you love die slowly. Like the whole movie is her just getting worse and worse and worse.
And in a very sad and sometimes, especially for her, embarrassing and humiliating way, because he has nurses that come in, but before that and even after that, he takes care of her, and it's just a really hard place to be for both the caretaker and the person being taken care of. So it's a very honest and real look at love. And we normally see movies that are like the start of love, or right after the wedding, or in the height of their, youth and vibrancy, and those are always like, oh, it's so nice, it gives me hope, and I'm there. This is different.
This is the exact opposite
and
of
it's
that.
Great. But it's great.
But this is love.
Is
I mean, if you really want to know what you mean when you say, do people,
watch
do
those
two
together.
people love?
Yeah.
This is what love is. This is watching the person you care about slowly wither and die, and being there for them while they go through it.
I watched this movie for 5 years. My grandma watched my grandpa die of complications of Alzheimer's when I was in high school, and so I've seen this movie a lot.
This movie's like that. It's hard and depressing the whole time, and there's no good answer. You can't just put on a happy face and wish away a stroke.
Right.
You can't just say. I mean, the best thing that can happen is she can die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that'd probably be that'd be the best solution for this.
That's the best solution, and that's
best case scenario.
Horrendous to think about, right?
No, there's some great moments throughout. It's not just this plodding along, but
it's really well done
spike the
throughout.
Story with just great moments, and so there's some stuff in there we're not necessarily talking about because we don't want to
give it away.
Anything.
I gotta say, the acting, fantastic,
amazing.
The husband does a great job, and then the wife.
Wasn't she nominated?
I think so.
I think she was
deservedly
nominated.
so.
Yeah.
She does some things where her face, because she starts to have strokes and stuff, and her face at one point where she can't really talk, and her face is gone. I was like, how's she doing that? Like
anything.
She looks like she's been stroked out. It might be. They might have had to.
It was great, and it was the kind of movie where we get done watching it, and we're still kind
sobbing.
Of reeling. We're still, we're not yet,
close.
But when we start talking about it, we're like,
that's when you start.
That's
crying.
when we start. Yeah. We're just sitting there on the couch 10, 20 minutes later, and we're like, for real, you can't not feel something when you watch that.
Yeah. The director Michael Haneke is he's 60 or 65. He's an old guy. He makes hard movies, but quality movies.
Yes.
Funny Games, and both versions he made. The American version, so if you hate subtitles, The American version is almost a shot-for-shot
remake.
Personally, I like the German one a little bit better.
Agreed.
But that movie... Do you remember when it ended? I got up from Funny Games and I walked around the house. I was like marching around just talking because I couldn't deal with it. Yeah. I was like, and then this happened, and what was that about? And you're like, I understand, Lewis. Please don't kill yourself.
The films that he makes challenges you as a person. You question things. You talk about
as an
stuff.
audience member.
You feel like you're being engaged. Like he's reaching out and talking to you, like especially in Funny Games, challenging you as a viewer.
Pushing buttons in your brain and stuff.
He's talking to you as a viewer and saying, guess what? You might be complicit in certain things by just being a viewer.
Yeah.
And that's
Funny
hard
Games
to
is
handle.
a movie about these home invaders.
Yeah.
That
and
come
it's not
into
your
a home
traditional
and
American home invader bullshit. I have to say that.
They terrorize this family for the
whole movie.
And let's play some games. And they just terrorize this family. And you think, oh, this is like every American movie where, crazy people come into a house.
Jigsaw and shit
that
like
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it is until the end. And then you realize what the director is doing. And then suddenly you realize, oh.
Yeah.
He's making
just mind-fucked me.
Yeah, he's mind-fucking you. He's making a point about why those movies and what those movies are. He's actually making a point about movies and not just about like, hey, let's watch some violence. Yeah, on the surface it looks like just some torture movie. It's so much more. But all his movies are complicated like that.
Yep. So 3 thumbs up for a more. Just be ready.
Yeah, it's good, but it's really good, but it's depressing.
Yeah.
We saw one more movie.
Yeah? Oh, we went to the theater.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
Lucky. I want to go see that.
It doesn't have enough of those in the title.
No, it doesn't.
The beginning of the
dawn of the rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Well, I turned to Kim afterwards and I was like...
He says, what's the movie? What's the first one with Franco? And I said, Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
And I'm like, what's the difference
between Rise and Funny? Right, sorry, Funny. I saw that.
Yep, Funny Games is
Rise
available on Watch Now.
I
think I'm going to watch that one.
Yeah, do, but it will fuck your night up.
Okay. It will fuck your night up.
In much the same way American Psycho will. American Psycho's great, but it kind of fucks up your brain.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, I'll watch them back to back.
The book, I think, even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Kim, what'd you think?
I think I liked it just a little bit less than you after talking with you about it, but I thought it was competent. I thought it was good. I think I gave it 3 stars.
What was it? Dawn of the
Rise of the Planet of the
Dawn
Apes.
of the Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
The beginning.
And as we talked about it...
The beginning of the Dawn of the Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
And we talked about it a little bit more, and it's like, you kept mentioning all the things that you liked about it, and I go, I agree. But when I got to the end of it, I still just had this less than excited feeling about it. So, good story, but I kind of saw a lot of things coming.
It's pretty predictable.
It's predictable.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
So the directing must be pretty good as far as entertaining.
The directing's fine.
Yeah.
It's Andy Serkis is just great.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Well,
He's like the whole
what
cast,
carries,
isn't he?
What carries this movie then, do you think?
Andy Serkis. What do you mean?
Well, like if it's predictable, the directing's okay. What is it? The acting? Is it the visuals? Is it?
It's the acting and the visuals.
It's the acting and the visuals. Yeah. I mean, the story's fine. It works for like a Hollywood blockbuster. I would say most people would be pleased with the story. I'm not saying that it was a letdown.
Jesus is written by 3 people.
You're not going to be too surprised by certain things. Like Gary Oldman is the human back in the town who's like, they're not intelligent. They're just monkeys. We can do what we want.
We're going to clear them out.
Well, I wonder if he's going to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, like it's kind of obvious.
And then there's a guy on the ape side who's kind of like
they're smart. We can work together.
Yeah, he's the... No,
There's
he's the bad guy. He's the
There's
kind
an evil
of rebel.
ape.
There's a rebel ape as well. And so you've got
Which is-
Caesar, who's
which
the
is
leader,
good.
which is Andy Serkis' character. And he's a really great leader. He's wise, he's kind, he's smart. And we have a good guy on our human side. And
Right.
they connect, because they're the
Malcolm?
Yeah,
Jason Clarke.
Malcolm.
Yeah, Jason
So
Clarke.
what
so
I-
they're kind of like mirror good guys.
Yeah.
But everything's just so...
But what I liked about the movie was also, as far as the story goes, was it's mostly predictable, but it deals with an idea that it's not just black and white. It's not like all the apes are good and all the humans are bad. Some of the apes are good and some are bad. Some of the humans are good and some are bad. And the problem is, it only takes one bad egg to spoil the whole thing. And that's kind of the lesson of this movie.
That's kind of what happens, yeah.
Yeah. There is one great moment in this movie.
Are you going to talk about...
Should I give it away?
They've all seen the poster.
No. That's my favorite part of the movie.
You like that?
Yeah. What were you thinking?
Oh, I was thinking of the ape who's riding the horseback on battle with 2 machine guns in his hands.
Yes.
You never knew you wanted to see that.
Until you
see it and you're like, holy Jesus, that was awesome.
That's a good point. I never thought in my whole life, I want to see a movie where a monkey's holding 2 machine guns while riding a horse.
Yeah.
Huh. But when you see it, he's like, ah, and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah.
So I didn't see the first one.
You kind of should.
I know, yeah, definitely. I was gonna say, cause I can't really comment on the visuals because I didn't see the first one. Did they do are the apes all CG?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things you have to recommend for this movie. The CG on the monkeys is so good. Because you spend 12 minutes or 25 minutes just with monkeys and close-ups, like it's a normal character.
Movie,
and you can't get away with that if the CG isn't just top-notch. And that's why I say Andy Serkis deserves it, but the computer graphics that figure out how to make him look real and make me just... He looks so good. Like, even in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the close-ups of his eyes are so cool. It's the first and maybe the only CG series I've ever seen where computer graphic characters' eyes look real. Like, they look like there's life in them.
Wow, that's crazy.
Maybe Avatar
until you see Rocket Raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy, of course.
I have high hopes for Guardians for the Galaxy because with the computer graphics being as good as they are with apes, I can't imagine that
raccoons
the raccoon should look good.
To be fair, though, apes are closer to humans, therefore maybe a little easier to animate.
Possibly. Anyway,
would
you say
so
see it?
I say thumbs up. I say see it. It wasn't like
maybe
Captain
as a
America.
Rental. Yeah, it's no Captain America, but maybe as a good rental or something.
Yeah.
All right, we done?
I think so.
We saw a lot of movies. We talked a whole bunch.
We did see a lot.
Anyway, we'll move on. Let's do some news. Let's talk about what's going on in the world of cinema these days.
Alrighty, according to the Hollywood Reporter, we've got Jonah Hill joining Channing Tatum and George Clooney in a Coen Brothers movie called Hail Caesar.
And Ray Fiennes and Tilda Swinton and Scarlett Johansson.
And Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin.
No big deal.
So yeah, that's a not a thing that's terrible at all.
Is this just going to be Ocean's 15?
Caesar, this is going to tell the comedic tale of Eddie Mannix, a fixer who worked for the Hollywood studios in the 50s and has a roll call that includes George Clooney, Josh Brolin, Channing Tatum, Ralph Fiennes, Rafe Fiennes, and Tilda Swinton. So, it's a period piece then?
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, the Coen Brothers, they're great.
Yes.
They're great with time and region.
They're so good at time and region. So, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to...
Especially coming off of Inside Llewyn Davis.
Sorry. This at least will be light and fun.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention when I was doing my Idiocracy earlier, I was reading the credits as the opening sequences was going on, written by Mike Judge and Ethan Coen.
Ah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So. Nice.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Either.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other news?
Let's see. We got Clerks 3 news, if it will load here. All right. So Kevin Smith, he is a kind of a Weinstein Company favorite or whatever. They have passed on Clerks 3.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So Kevin Smith has offered some updates on his upcoming projects. He's currently in post-production on a movie called Tusk, a creepy tale based on a real-life news story, and the film has reportedly inspired a spin-off. Now, the real-life news story is that It centers around an old man named an old man played by Michael Parks, who was also in Red State with him. He was the creepy old preacher dude.
He was very good.
Great role for him. And this older man has an unhealthy obsession with walruses. Justin Long plays a journalist who approaches him for a story, and Genesis Rodriguez and Haley Joel Osment play Justin Long's friends. Johnny Depp is slated to play a investigator charged with looking into the strange events that unfold. So this is a fiction based on a germ of truth.
Huh.
So, and I've been hearing him talk about this for, I think I might have heard him mention this for the first time, like this time last year. He's been working on this for a while. So.
Have you guys seen the poster for Tusk?
I did see it. Yes. Hold on.
I think the poster looks really cool.
As far as Clerks 3, it sounded like in the article Smith wasn't too worried about it. He just said that he's going to just move on and get some other studio to do it.
From what I understand, if he can get the $6 million budget together himself, he'll distribute it.
He'll do it. Yeah, he'll do it himself with Smodcast Productions or Smodco or whatever it is that he does. He is not. He's kind of not shy about doing the whole lone wolf thing these days. His whole podcast network is hugely successful. He's got like 6 podcasts on there. That all of them are wildly successful.
I don't know if we talked about this last week or not, or even if it was last week. The picture of him crying after seeing the Star Wars set. Did we talk about that?
We did not, but I believe it.
Oh no! Well, it's he took a picture and he's crying after he left the set of the new Star Wars, and he's like pointing at his eyes or whatever. And he had to sign a contract, he can't reveal anything, but he did, like, some reporter asked something about stormtroopers, and all he did was shake his head like, yes.
Vigorously.
Like, yeah. So I'm not sure what that means, but, it's kind of, even though he liked the new Star Wars, he said that the what he saw on the set made him feel the way he did when he first saw the old Star Wars.
That's excellent news, because he's hugely.
I'm a hugely old Star Wars fan. Could you go to Netflix and see if what Star Wars are on play now?
I will do that.
I'd like to know, because Kimberly has not seen episodes 1, 2, or 3.
You can borrow. Or wait, the new Star Wars?
The new ones, the shitty ones.
Well, I'm sorry, Kim.
You can see.
Why are you sorry?
Well, because
none of them
most
are
everyone
none
says
of them.
that I'm.
It sounds like he's trying to make you watch it.
Well, he told me not to watch. He says, "Good, glad, don't watch it, don't watch it."
It's true.
Now,
They're
out
pretty.
Of nowhere, he's
one
like,
of these days,
you gotta
I'll
watch
make
1,
her
2,
watch
and
them.
3.
No,
wait,
no.
You guys have Amazon Prime, right?
Yeah.
You might be able to rent them on Amazon. Hold on. We'll find out real quick.
God, I hate the new Star Wars so much.
They're so bad. But I think it might be worth watching to see what a bad movie
Here's
looks like.
some news. It happened really quietly, secretly, stealthily. But in the month of June, Netflix stopped shipping on Saturdays, and they don't ship on Saturdays anymore. They never told anybody, but a spokesperson for Netflix did confirm that they silently stopped shipping on Saturdays, and they will not ship anymore.
That's weird.
Most of their of their profits come from Watch Instantly, and so they are lowering their services with disc service, and so they might be working their way towards Watch Instantly only.
Well, if they had all the movies on Watch Instantly, that'd be fine.
Yeah, it would be great. But in the meantime, Saturday, no shipping. So disc people.
I wonder why. It seems like the best idea would to charge the extra when you have a disc, but then just add those premium movies on for the same price.
Yeah.
On the streaming.
So Amazon sucked it on that one. They didn't get any of the rights to
nothing.
They got Star Wars Clone Wars Season 4 or a Lego Star Wars. And that's about it.
All right, so no watching Star Wars. That's okay. But we're excited. Star Wars 7.
Yeah.
Could go places.
I hope so. I think we all hope so.
I think she dodged a big bullet by not seeing 1, 2, or 3.
I know, but at some point she's gonna have to sit down and
she's right here.
Yeah, someday she'll she'll kind of probably have questions. They might like bring back stuff from the first 3.
Oh dear
God, why?
Then she'll be really confused.
You mean we'll sit around and watch a whole bunch of freaking diplomacy meetings and fucking boring shit that no one gives a crap about? So and Yoda jumping around like he's a midget.
Are all of the aliens in Star Wars racist stereotypes? Yes, honey, they all are.
Yeah.
God, no, it's
terrible.
Okay. So, any other news?
Yes.
Oh, we have more.
We do, but we've got. Speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy earlier, there's a new extended trailer, or there's Horrible Bosses 2 trailer. What do you guys want to see?
Horrible Bosses 2.
Let's
watch it.
You want to see that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we are, trailer for Horrible Bosses 2.
All right, I'm going to get it onto screen capture for the people that are watching, and here we go. Whoa.
Hello, Nick. Guy who saved my life. Guy who screwed my wife.
It was a blow. Let him do the. Sorry.
So what do you want from me?
To tell her I said hi, please.
Y'all criminals. You tried to kill your bosses. Now you want to perpetrate a kidnapping? See, you can't have this both ways. Y'all the craziest criminals I've ever met. You want to pull this shit off? You gotta act like it.
Word.
Turn down for what? Turn down for what?
Oh, that was embarrassing. I'm trying to do a super cool slow-mo walk, guy.
Come on, man.
No, it's over. Let's go.
Going, Nick?
Moronic idea.
Hi, boys. You ever done it in a dentist chair?
Why don't you go get the chair ready? I'm just gonna visit the men's room real quick.
You're welcome to do that on me.
Oh, well, it's
And?
Oh, she's so filthy. I forgot how freaking filthy she was in that. I honestly had no idea what the hell they could have done with that, but I'll watch that, I guess. I mean, it'll be something to do.
I'll watch it.
I feel like Jason Bateman for me is always good.
He looks
Absolutely.
so fucking cool.
I love him.
Cool.
He looks
I just
great.
love that guy.
Yeah, and it's so cool
he does
to
a
see
good
Charlie Day.
straight arrow.
Oh
He's
man,
really good at that.
He's like
You're right.
the perfect straight guy to get any, like, if you want anything crazy to go to happen, just get Jason Bateman and it will always be believable.
Yeah, he's
And Spacey.
very believable. And he's funny.
And
He looks,
Anderson.
with his
Spacey looked
goatee, that's pretty badass.
It looks really good.
Yeah, it does.
I'd watch it.
Yeah,
I know it's more of
I'll
the
go see
same
that.
stuff, but I'll see it.
Yeah.
It looks funny.
We could be surprised.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Didn't think
No, I
22
just-
Jump Street was gonna be better, and it was.
That's good.
Yeah, you're right.
That's
good
No,
point.
I recently watched the Mumford and Sons "Hopeless Wanderer" official music video that's got Sudeikis. It's got
Jason Bateman,
Will Forte, and Ed Helms.
And Ed Helms.
And-
oh my god! And they all start.
Oh, it's freaking hilarious.
They all start making out with each other. Oh my god,
Well,
it's so funny.
Only two of them make out. The other ones make eyes at each other. No, but it's great.
Yeah.
I just love seeing Jason Bateman. He's good.
And
and Sudeikis is they're just good. They're funny.
I can't decide if it was those guys' idea to approach them or if Mumford and Sons were like, we just want to have something really silly and have fun with it, do whatever.
I don't know.
It's hard to say because
However it worked out.
But it's great.
It was a
Yeah.
good choice.
it worked out really well. So now we need to make it to our homework.
Okay, let's do our
I
homework.
think it's time for homework.
If I'm not mistaken, homework. That was news. That's our news.
Oh,
noise.
damn it.
End of news. Okay, so who did Once Upon a Time in the West?
That would be me.
That was you. Okay,
Yes.
so Thomas, you assigned a movie to us. What was it?
Once Upon a Time in the West, like you just said.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I assigned it after the successful, The Good, the Bad, the Weird.
Oh, yeah. Do you see the connections even in this one?
No.
Oh.
Okay, so Nathan, you you don't like good movies. What did you think?
Fuck you, Thomas. I watched this movie and I started it. I started off not right because I should have just sat down and watched it, but I thought I was gonna pull off watching it like just kind of intermittently like I do some of my movies. Watched about 10 minutes of it. I was like, I better pause this and actually watch this for real. So I paused it and watched it after I was done with the day, and it was really not anything that I was expecting. I saw like every Quentin Tarantino movie ever made. I could see bits and pieces.
Hear it too. You could hear it, right?
I could hear it. I could feel it. I could sense it. I could almost smell it. And I'm like every freaking movie he's ever made, something has come from this movie.
That's true.
And as much as I didn't really care for what was going on, I thought what was actually going on was pretty blah. I mean, the story, there just really wasn't that much there. I mean, it was a little hard to follow, not much there, but I was still I was compelled. I was like, what's going to happen next? What's going on with this chick, and what's going on with Dirtface and all this? This is great. Charles Bronson, good Lord, he's like one chromosome away from a monkey. That dude's ugly looking dude. Well, I really enjoyed this movie though for what it was.
We watched it with my dad, and I said this to him, actually speaking of Charles Bronson's face. I said, Sergio Leone said, I want to take the ugliest man in Hollywood, Charles Bronson, and put a camera 3 inches from his face.
The entire time.
Which he does. I mean,
oh my God.
Nobody looks sexy in this movie. These guys are all just dirty, and you can see every wrinkle and every hair and every
and bruise. Good Lord, what did they do to make them so goddamn tan? Everyone just had the world's most amazing tan. They're like, all right, we got 6 months to go. Everybody go get yourself into the sunshine.
But most everyone in this movie, except for the leads, they're just all Italians. Which is why the voice quality is so bad whenever anyone speaks, because it's all dubbed over later.
Now, even with the birdcage at the beginning,
yeah, oh my God,
I was like, whoa, that's worse than usual.
Who was the chick? Because all I could think of the whole time was Jessica Simpson. She looked a lot like Jessica Simpson to me.
Claudette. She was what's her name? Claudette. I think Claudia Claudette's her.
Claudia
Cardinale.
Yeah.
Claudia Cardinale. She was Cardinale. She was famous as a sex symbol, I guess, back in the 60s. Kind of.
See, right here, right there, she has a Jessica Simpson-esque quality to her. I don't know if it's her nose and mouth combo. I don't know.
Who cares?
Just glancing at it, it was distracting to me, is what I'm trying to get at, though, because like every time she came on screen, I'm like, Jessica Simpson, ugh! And then I would think of like shitty movies she's been in, like what's that one with her in Knoxville? The Dukes of Hazzard. I'm like, Dukes of Hazzard's on the screen. So that was mildly distracting.
She's just an Italian actress that, they could get she was hot and famous in Italy. So they just threw her in there.
It's very model-esque.
I really liked Cheyenne. I thought he was cool.
Jason Robards is
cool. I didn't really understand his role that much, but I thought he was cool.
He's the ugly.
There's actually 3 guys in this movie.
I feel like all of Leone's movies have good, bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Was this before or after the Good, the Bad, the Ugly?
I'm pretty sure it's after.
After? Interesting.
Yeah.
So this is sitting at 98% with the critics on Rotten Tomatoes, 95% with the audience. This is a really, really well-liked movie.
Yes.
And rightly so. It was really beautifully shot. It actually says right at the beginning that it has been digitally remastered since the 60s. So it's the version we had on Netflix was really, really pretty to look at. It was really fascinating just to see how many movies I've seen. I'm like, this looks familiar. This looks familiar. Yeah. This looks familiar.
So I know you've seen it, Lewis, and we know that you are a big fan. Kim, is this the first time for you? No, okay, no. I didn't know.
No. Yeah, I've seen this several times. I've taught it in my film class too. So yeah, I'm a huge fan.
That being said, I enjoyed it. I probably will never ever watch this movie ever again.
It's long. It's long.
You have to watch it at least every 5 years.
It's a rule.
You do.
You can't do.
You do. Yeah. And you know why?
I said it to my dad. He's like, I don't want to watch this now.
It's about composition.
Because it's so long. And I said, Dad, whether the story is there for you or not, this is the most beautiful film ever.
That's true. I
like
will,
visually,
I will agree with that.
It's
for
shot
sure.
so well.
Yeah.
Okay, Tommy, you keep making a face like
I'm not. No, I was just thinking.
What do you think?
Thinking
What did you
face,
think?
not disagreeing face.
What was your experience?
No. Well, you bring up the beautiful shots, and maybe when it comes to portraying people, it's beautiful. But I didn't necessarily the environments and stuff like that. They were beautiful, but I wouldn't put it on the same level as you. The beginning, the first half is really slow. I have to admit, it really does pick up towards really the middle, and end, obviously, at least compared to the first half. The story at times is a little disjointed. I feel it's not as tight as I like Good, Bad, Ugly or those other films. But overall, I really enjoyed it. Like the way he catches these actors on camera is like, I mean, he's on his own level. Obviously, you don't see people catching people on camera the way he does, as far as their essence. Even the first 3 goons that show up on the screen, it's just. From that point on, it's like whenever he did a close-up or seeing someone talking, and all the actors did such a good job kind of invoking what kind of person they were when they were doing the close-up, which I imagine would not be easy when the camera's literally like here.
In your face.
But no, I appreciate
What
the film.
did you think of the opening 20 minutes?
I looked at the thing, and the first word was spoken like 14 minutes in. I was like, Jesus, is anybody going to say anything ever?
Harmonica doesn't talk that much. He's our main guy.
Yeah, not until the end of the movie.
Did
really.
you like to fly?
That was pretty funny.
What would he cut the?
All I was thinking is like, what they put on his face, like sugar or something.
Yeah.
They get to fly to.
So cool.
That opening scene is really cool,
and
though.
Jack Elam
the
with
drip
those
on
big
the
eyes.
hat. And he drinks
And
it.
the way they're standing on that station with those ties, there always is somebody in the foreground, but always someone in the far background and focus. It's really incredibly shot. And then the gunfight, and he goes, you only got 3 horses, and he goes, yeah, I guess we brought 1 too few, and he goes, nah, you brought too many.
Yeah.
That
was pretty.
But that gunfight's
pretty awesome.
It's pretty cool.
The fights are always like that, which makes
so
it great
cool.
because you think that it's going to be kind of like the movies that we were just talking about, like The Raid, where it's like the action sequences kind of sustain the movie and keep that momentum. Well, in this film, every time there's a fight,
Sergio
it's like,
almost sounds like he's like seen real gunfights as far as the way they play out. Like, I mean, even in his other movies, you don't have extended shootouts. It's like seconds and it's over.
Yeah, the final fight with Frank and Harmonica, you sit there and they just the camera gets closer and closer to their eyes, and then we go into the past and we see why Harmonica wants to kill Frank.
Yeah.
And then bang, and it's over. You're just like, what just fucking happened? It's so fast.
He just captures the tenseness of each time, like whenever they're circling each other, even throughout the movie, like as soon as one of them makes a move, like hand on the gun, like just and they like continue to do that as far as kind of create this tense moment, even when Harmonica's helping the bad guy out, like the bad guy's still like, I'm gonna shoot
Can I trust you
yeah, exactly. No, it
looks like it's getting past noon.
Right?
When the beginning of the movie though, I'm like, what the heck is going on? They've shown me 3 different characters, and I think they all look very evil and menacing. Like, is there a hero in this?
Nice.
I don't have any idea what's going on.
But the great thing about it is the music is used so well because every main character has a motif. They have a sound that goes with them, a song.
Don't they put it together when the 2 face off? As far as they have the harmonica along with the mean, wicked guitar.
Yeah.
As far as
his evil guitar is the
best. So we hear harmonica before we see him because we hear the music and then the train pulls away and he's standing across the rails and you're just like, I got excited. I was like, I think it's harmonica. I'm so excited.
My favorite scene is when that family gets killed and you don't see where it's coming from, and then slowly you hear Frank's guitar and then slowly these guys start coming out.
That is a
and
cool
they're just
scene.
Suddenly coming out of the bushes. And you're like, where'd they come from?
They've got the big capes.
Those dusters.
To be honest,
Frank.
I don't know why, but I almost got a medieval sense of the way they're just kind of appear out of the desert. Like it's almost like
they're walking out of a fog or something.
Yeah, exactly. But it's midday.
Well,
and
now that you said my name,
and
you're like, oh, no.
The NATO kid.
Yeah, he's gonna get it.
Frank is an evil bastard, and he's played by Henry Fonda, who at the time was considered just always the good guy.
He's playing against type.
There's a movie from '63 called Failsafe, and they knew that for Failsafe to work, the guy who played the president had to be the most trustworthy face ever, so they cast Henry Fonda. And if you've ever seen Failsafe, you'll understand why you need someone like Henry Fonda to play the president. So for him to play a villain, and not just kind of a villain, he's a mean guy.
Oh man,
keep your loving brother.
It's kind of another fun thing Sergio does is how much character he gives villains, especially in westerns, like where you normally kind of American westerns, there's the bad guy. Mm-hmm. Whereas yes, we see what Fonda does, and he's the scum of the earth, but he still has like all these different layers. Like he's just strange, especially when he's hanging out with the female role. You're just like, what is going on here?
That part confused the shit out of me.
Where they have sex?
Yeah, I was like, why is this happening? Why is that allowed to happen?
He's going to kill her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, we can come to a deal. We can come to a bargain. And so she basically says, I'll have sex with you and then sell you my land. So he, in a sense, rapes her.
Wow.
Yeah. It's bizarre. I mean, I got what was going on. And the fact that how sad her life is, that she's willing to do anything to survive, and which is, a realistic human element. People aren't going to be like, no matter what. It's like, all right, just do it real quick.
I agree.
She's doing what it takes to survive.
To do. And you kind of respect her for it, right?
Yeah.
Well, and
she's one of the guys.
Even when she tells the guy, you lean me over the table, get your guys in here, I don't care, as long as
I'll just take a hot bath later. And then later when she's like, I need some hot water.
Yeah. Will you give me some hot water, please?
Walking, you're like, whoa.
How about my favorite line is bit of dialogue is when Charles Bronson buys the farm, the land for $5,000, and then Cheyenne goes, Judas needed $4,970 less. And he says, Judas didn't use dollars back then. Goes, there were no dollars back then. And he goes, but sons of bitches? Yeah. I just love that line. Sons of bitches? Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a slow movie. Everyone I recommend it to, the first thing I say is, listen, you're going to be just staring at nothing for a long time. But if you're willing to just hit pause, like every minute, and think, would I put that on my wall as a poster? I guarantee, minute by minute, it's all beautiful.
Yeah.
It's all stuff that if you put it on the wall, you'd be like, that's a cool poster.
And at the very end, I was reading in the credits, it said something or other, they wanted to say thank you to the
Utah and Arizona.
So
he filmed for a little while in the States.
Yeah, but for a week or two, he flew to the States, and they filmed. You can tell, because usually they have kind of low mountains in the background. That's all in Italy.
Yeah.
But when they have the
big arches.
The arches and the big
I was actually
mesas,
wondering about that. I'm like,
there's no way they have that.
For just 1 week, they flew out and filmed those shots, and you can tell because they're really like
perfect
vistas, like grand scenes.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we're close up on faces again, because suddenly we're back in Italy. Oops. No. So I'm glad you guys saw yourself a spaghetti western. I hope you recognize. I mean, Nathan said it. Quentin Tarantino.
Oh yeah.
Loves this movie specifically. In Inglourious Bastards, it opens up. It says, "Once upon a time in Nazi-occupied
and the
France."
House is obviously in France and with grass and stuff, but it looks just like the farmhouse in this movie.
It really
right.
does.
Or there's the scene
and the water at the well. Mm-hmm. They go to the well a lot. Yeah.
There's a scene at the beginning of the movie where the three guys are waiting for the train, and there's this the sound of the windmills going.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you go watch the end of Kill Bill, there's the little well that fills up.
Yeah, that always when she goes to Oranishi at the House of Blue Leaves.
Yeah, and it does it. I guarantee he's sitting there watching this movie,
taking notes.
Okay, I need to make sure I have a scene where there's a repetition.
Yeah, nothing is.
Yeah, he loves it, and he's actually not ashamed. I mean, his new movie, The Hateful Eight, that he's actually making now, he full on says this is just his spaghetti western he's working on. So
good. Can't wait.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's a great movie to pattern anything else after. And
so even if you guys, like Nathan, if
borrow.
you never see it again, that's okay, because this is one where I think you have to have seen it at least once in your life.
Absolutely.
Just to understand movies. From here on out, you'll see things from here on out. You'll be like, there it is. That's from Once Upon a Time. So, all right. That's it for homework, except for now I got to assign a new homework.
I think it's your turn.
It is my turn. I'm going to assign you a movie that I have not seen called The Man from Nowhere.
Okay.
I think it's a Korean movie, South Korean. Is that true?
I think you're correct on that.
You're correct, sir.
Double check.
The reason I'm recommending this one is because my Netflix queue keeps telling me that I will like this, and it says I'll probably give it 4 stars, and so that's pretty good. So we'll give it a try, and we'll see where we are. Okay. And so everybody, The Man from Nowhere for next podcast.
Okay.
Check it out. Okay, is that it?
I think that's everything.
So.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, and listening to us discuss movies. If you haven't seen any of the things we talked about, hopefully now you have a few ideas of stuff to go check out. Don't forget to watch your homework for next time, and don't forget to check out Time Spent Poorly at all our very many places.
Lots of places.
We're on the internet at timespentpoorly.com. We're on YouTube's Time Spent Poorly channel. Yep. You can subscribe to that.
iTunes,
see all of us. iTunes, go on iTunes and like us. Go to Twitter and like us. Go to Stitcher. Is that the thing?
Stitcher, yeah.
Stitcher, and it's always Time Spent Poorly.
iTunes, you subscribe on iTunes.
You subscribe. And go Time Spent Poorly, and then Hanging from the Balcony is just one of the many shows that you can find on the Time Spent Poorly network.
We have a fitness show starting, a brand new fitness show with me and my friend Mike starting this Friday, so be watching for that. It's called the Rosewater Kinetics Fitness Hour, so be watching for that. We'll be discussing fitness and what you should be eating, what you shouldn't be eating, how to swing your clubs correctly. We're going to get people that swing clubs on there and people that make them, and other enthusiasts of trying to be in shape and
golf clubs.
Yes, no, Indian swinging clubs.
Indian swinging clubs. I'd buy some, but I think they're $700.
I have a set that are my cheapest set's $80.
$80. Well, maybe I'll buy some.
At the beginning of the podcast, you do mention you have the smallest muscles a man could have.
I know. And would the Indian swinging clubs give me bigger muscles?
I have bigger muscles because of my Indian swinging clubs. So yes.
All right, I'll give you $80.
Yes.
Set aside a set of the cheapest ones.
Okay.
How long do you need to get them ready?
We're a little bit behind right now, so about 60 days actually.
Okay.
Wow.
So remind me in 2 months to bring $80 to podcast.
Okay, I will.
Yeah. And then I'll Indian swing. You'll have to teach me how to do it.
I'll teach you how to do it, and then I'll give you a bunch of video links of of like people that will teach you better than me to do it. And the podcast.
We could just listen to your fucking podcast.
Yeah, you try that too. Yeah.
Okay.
Check out Rosewater Kinetics Fitness Hour coming up soon right here in the Time Spent Poorly Podcast Network.
Yeah, do it. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Until next week, have a wonderful movie night.